Hey, everybody, welcome back to Vision Pros Live. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. Today on the show, we're talking about being guided by grace. We've got Keith Haney on the show. Keith, welcome to Vision Pros Live.
Well, thanks for having me, Fletcher. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Love to have this
Yeah,
conversation.
absolutely. I got the name correct, right? Keith Haney.
Yeah, that's right.
All
Just
right,
like
all
Green
right,
Acres.
all right. So we're going to start off first with the question I always ask my guests because, there's a lot of suffering going on in the world. There's a lot of uncertainty, and we become practiced at paying attention to that, and we become practiced at looking for the misses instead of the wins. What's wrong or what's doesn't feel good in the world, and what's going well and what is feeling good in the world, both are always available to us. And I assert that it's a practice of training to focus on what's going well. So start us off with a win. What is going well for you in your personal and or professional life?
Well, what's great for me in this season is I just finished my doctoral dissertation. So after 3 years of kind of digging through that research and getting a bunch of feedback from a lot of congregations about how do you navigate change, I think I've figured out kind of, I guess I'd say the key to helping organizations turn the corner from just having a big vision about the future to making that vision something that flourishes and grows. So I'm really getting a lot of people now calling me going, hey, we love the book. We love the idea. Help us take this vision that we have and turn it into something that's turning our organization around and is now concrete. So yeah, that's just been fun kind of having those conversations.
Right on. So you got the book, Guided by Grace.
Mm-hmm.
You're finished. You did finish up your dissertation. Is that what you said?
I did back in
All right.
March,
All
May
right.
of 2024. So
Congratulations.
thank
So,
you.
and now you're having conversations with people about how to, and really about what this show is about, right? It's a vision. And I just talked to you before we started recording, like, yeah, in my opinion, a vision is a clarified story that lives up in the mind. And then we take action to bring that into the physical realm. And so now you're having conversations with people about doing exactly that, right?
Right, exactly. And I always tell them because churches have a hard time with vision. So I say to them, think of it as your trophy. If you're
Mm.
going for your trophy, what's that trophy look like? And
Hmm.
what does it take to get to that trophy? So I use the example. I'm not a Cub fan, but a lot of people get this example. So I was like, imagine what the Chicago Cubs trophy was. I mean, they've been 100 years without winning a World Series. Theo Epstein comes on the scene and he has one particular goal, one vision that the entire city knew, and that was to bring home the World Series trophy to Chicago Cubs. If you ask anybody in Chicago, what was the goal? What was the trophy? It was the World Series. So I
Mm.
ask organizations, can you tell me so clearly what your trophy is that everybody in the entire organization knows exactly what you're aiming for? Because if you know what it
Hmm.
is, then you know what it takes to get there. If you're unclear about your vision, then every road will get you there.
Hmm. I like this conversation. This is what we're all about, tapping into what your vision is. So, and what you said is something so spot on. It, and I want to ask our listeners to consider this. Can you articulate your vision? Can you clearly articulate your vision to another person so they understand it? Right? Is that vision clarified in your head? Because would you agree, Keith, that the more clarity you have around the vision, the greater access you have to creating it?
Well, yeah, definitely. And you also will discover that things will pop up in your sphere because you have a clear vision that you wouldn't see if you didn't. So I
Yes.
tell churches, a lot of organizations, if you have a clear vision, you'll be amazed how many opportunities come your way because people will buy into that and you'll see it more clearly when the opportunity arises. If your vision isn't clear, you will miss opportunities because you're looking for whatever that thing is to build momentum.
Yeah.
Vision helps you to narrow your focus so that your resources, your time, your energy, your people resources are all going toward the same thing. If you're not clear about that, you'll try all kinds of things that don't really get you where you want to end up being. So it really
Yes.
does help you to narrow what your focus is.
Yeah, and speaking in from like a neuroscience point of view, what you're saying also tracks, because we have that RAS, or the reticular activation system, right? That sits back towards the down towards the back of your head. That is our filtering system. So it pays attention to what is on our mind, and it sorts all the incoming data, and it says, oh, is this what does this track with what we're have been focused on? Is this track what we believe? Does this track on, is this in alignment with my opinions? So it's always looking for that to validate that vision, and like you said, we start seeing or hearing conversations. They're like, oh, got to talk with that person, right? We look for
Yeah,
those opportunities. So yeah, love that. So why is this important to you?
because you started out with the other question of what in the world is broken, and there's so much brokenness in the world. And in my area of expertise, the church, we have the answers to some of that brokenness. But if we don't effectively communicate that message, nobody ever hears about the solutions that the church has for their day-to-day lives. So when a church is ineffective, when it is distracted, when it is going off on the wrong tangents or chasing the wrong things, it misses the opportunity to pour into people's lives in a transformational way. So for me, it's like, how do you bring transformational processes to people's lives? And that's kind of what I'm in the business of, transformation.
Yeah. Okay. I can get behind that for sure. Yeah. Transformation. That's not just changing your opinion about something.
No.
Yeah. Talk to me a little more, and help my audience understand what you mean by a transformation.
So when I did this research, I discovered I was trying to really comparing leadership styles. And I think that kind of plays in what your question is. We were always taught in the church that the best kind of leader for the church is a servant leader. What I discovered in my research is that servant leaders actually don't produce the kind of change that they want to produce. The group that does that are transformational leaders, because transformational leaders can get beyond the feelings and the emotions of the people around them, where servant leaders kind of get stuck on, hey, I want everybody to like me and I want people to feel good about this. Transformational leaders go, I want to transform the people around me, and I also want to transform the organization. And ultimately, I want to transform the community. So transformation is about, how do you bring into the brokenness healing and life-changing potential in people's lives, in the organization, and the community you're serving, or the customers you're serving.
Yes. Yeah. And I would add to that, what a transformational leader excels at is they have the ability to enroll people into a vision of what's possible. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yeah. We're not looking to necessarily just fix something that's broken. We're not looking to put a Band-Aid on something that's needs a Band-Aid. What we're looking for is to transform something so it may look and operate radically differently than it has previously. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I would say it's take it to the next level, taking your team to the next level, taking your organization to the next level, taking your community to the next level. So it's like, okay, we're here. The transformational leader sees where we're going and knows how to get us all there.
Yes.
And so it's really it's a powerful atmosphere.
Yes. Yeah. The transformational leader has a roadmap of how to get to this vision. And I would also assert that what this leader is exceptional at is influencing the thinking of the people that they are leading. Right.
Correct.
Because we need to bring new thinking to the situation in order to create something newly. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I also studied the charismatic leader, or I call the narcissistic leader. They have the ability to get people to buy into the vision, but not necessarily buy into them. And so you can almost get those two confused, because the narcissistic leader and the transformational look a lot the same, but how you feel around the leader is different.
Yeah. Exactly. And so we want to pay attention to the leaders that we are giving our time, attention, money to, right? We want to really pay attention, get curious. Like,
Yeah.
where are they leading us? What is the
Right.
vision that they're enrolling us into, right?
Right.
Does that track with my values and standards?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you have indicated that there's a little, I don't know what percentage of churches you think are kind of going off the rails, but you indicated that there is some of this sense of that things are going off the rails. Can you tell me more what you mean by that?
Well, to take some numbers, like people like numbers, 80% of churches are either plateaued or declining. Only 10% of churches are having what I would call conversional growth, which is new people coming in and joining the church. So you have a lot of dysfunction. 31% of churches are just having transfer growth. So you can imagine if you're in a company, people don't like Nike, so they go buy Converse.
Yeah.
It's not that you got new customers. You just switch tennis shoes because they had a sale. And they'll go back to the other store as soon as they were dissatisfied with that. So there's not this new customers. You're just kind of switching among tennis shoe buyers.
So a lot of churches are plateaued or in decline. What do you attribute that to?
I think some of it is the inability, I believe, of churches to adapt to their surroundings. Culture is moving at such a fast pace that the church sometimes lags behind in its methods, not the message, but just the methods to reach out to this new generation. So, for example, I was at a church this last week, and the population they're not reaching is what they call the digital dependent generation. It's young singles who do everything online. And this is a congregation that is used to having churches in person, gatherings in person, and everything they do is interactive, personal interaction. They're not reaching the group that is going to, first of all, look at your website, look for you to have a social media group that they can join, an online chat group, or do podcast, or have just a sermon on video. So they're not reaching that population that's really digital. They're reaching the ones that are older and now maybe single or widowed. And so they just have to adapt their strategies if they want to reach that digital age generation.
Yeah, very observant. And that's super important because the younger generations, everything's online, or much of what they do is online, or they go online to check things out.
Right.
Because what they're looking for is a sense of certainty. They want to have a sense of certainty before they perhaps show up in person, right?
Right, exactly. Or even the community, because you think about the workforce and how the workforce has been impacted by COVID. And now younger people, like, I can do my work from home. I don't want to drive, 20 minutes to 45 minutes to get to my job. I can do my job in my pajamas at home. And church has become that too. Why do I want to drive to go to church when I can just as easily turn the TV on, get my Starbucks coffee, my latte, whatever that's going to be, and I can enjoy just the service online. So the need to be in person with people is just not as much as important for this generation. And if the church doesn't understand that and adapt, not only its online worship presence, but its online presence in general, they're not going to connect with this generation.
So you indicated that there is a small percentage of churches that are growing. Mm-hmm. What do you see them doing that's resulting in that growth?
They are not leaving any opportunity on the table. So if they need podcast or certain kind of ministries to connect with their generation, they are above the curve. And I know one church that kids love to text. So they have the pastor throw a question up on the screen and have the kids text the answers on the screen live during the sermon. When I mentioned that to this other church, they're like, I can't imagine, having my kids texting during church. I keep trying to put the phone away. But this church, like, well, let's pour into that. How can we engage them by having them interact during that?
Yeah. Okay. I'm appreciating that, but I want to play devil's advocate, because there are people out there listening right now, and they're like, Keith, dude, you're going too far. Come on, man. Come on. People on their phones during church. Come on. Talk to those people. What are you going to say to that?
I think the important thing is don't lose sight of the message, but you got to figure out a way to connect with this generation, or you're not going to have them anyway. And I'm not saying we ever compromise the message or the truth of the gospel, but you have to realize this generation is not going to walk in your doors. This is, we have a saying in Iowa: if you build it, they will come. Well, they aren't coming. So you have to go to where they are, and that means in the digital space, in the sports space, in the bar space. You got to go where the people are if you want to connect with them.
Okay, here's a hot topic for me. Try to reel myself in here. Take a breath, because that's always been the message of Christ.
Yes.
Go to the people.
Right.
We are not looking for them to come to us. We were called to go out to the people where they are in need. Is that accurate or not?
No, it's very accurate. I mean, he went to where the sinners were. He went to where the tax collectors were. He went to where the infirmed were, the diseased were, and he was in their midst. He didn't say, everybody come meet me at the tabernacle, at the temple. He was at the temple very often. So he was out among the people.
So I want to invite our listeners to consider, if Jesus was here today, he might be hanging out on the corner down by 7-Eleven with all the youth who have their noses in their phones.
Right.
And he's chatting them up.
Yeah. He's texting them. He's on Snapchat with
he's texting them. He's like, dudes, check out this reel, right?
Right. Check out this reel. I mean, it's my little 2-minute sermon here. Right.
That's right. He's finding a way to meet them where they're at, engage them in a meaningful way. Right.
Exactly.
And do it in a non-judgmental way. He's doing it. He's with them, not condescending. He's with them, loving them, and really getting who they are and where they're at. I love this. This is a radical notion. This is going to be what you're saying. What you're suggesting churches do is like, hey, get with this. We have to make radical changes. Now, I define radical as a departure from the norm, a departure from what has been the norm, what has been usual. It's always uncomfortable to do that. It might look crazy to other people, right?
Exactly.
But I think what you're saying here, Keith, is spot on, and we need to pay attention to that. If you want to, if you don't want to lose an entire generation, find a way to be relevant.
Right. Exactly. I mean, you have kids my kids, for example, some of them, if I call them on the phone, they will never answer the phone. If I text them, they will text me right back. So if the church is calling people on the phone and no one's answering, are you really making a difference? Whereas if I text you and you respond, maybe I need to text you more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think one of the things we need to realize that, because some, again, adults, older adults who are listening to this might be like, really, we have to text these people? Why can't they just pick up that? I'll tell you why I'll tell you why they're trending towards this behavior, because they feel safer.
Yes.
Right. They feel safer. Oh, I can text, not get roped into a long conversation, not get roped into, I don't have to be as vulnerable. There's a little bit of safety built in for them, and they're comfortable doing it. I mean, not just kids, many people, but we're talking about the younger generation. So again, you're meeting where they're at. You're considering their zone of safety as you outreach to them. Yeah,
exactly. Because we got an email generation. They don't do emails. So sending out a church email announcement, they're not going to read that. You send out a text, they'll respond with a link on it or a QR code to register. You got to realize, if you want the relationship with them, you have to go the extra mile. You have to work a little harder at it.
Yeah. Some people might hear that and go, dang, Keith, that sounds like a burden. But I heard something recently that I'll never forget. responsibility without commitment does feel like a burden.
Yeah.
But when you add in commitment to your responsibility, it suddenly is not the burden anymore because you're committed. But responsibility without commitment feels burdensome. So what we have to do is we have to realize, like, yeah, the people, here's the people that we're trying to outreach. Here's their playing ground. There's their safety ground. I have to commit to that level of responsibility, and suddenly it just kind of it's a bit of a relief valve, and it's no longer a burden because there's that high level of commitment. Does that resonate?
Oh, it does. And it goes back to how important is the relationship to you? Do these people matter to you? Are you willing to go the extra mile to reach them? Or they
Yeah.
don't matter? If they don't matter, then don't waste their time and your time by making the effort. If they matter, then you will go the extra mile.
Yeah. This is such a great conversation, and I really appreciate it. And it's a controversial as well, because you're saying things like, well, if it doesn't matter, I mean, it's hard to like to say, well, they don't matter then, because
Right.
because if you're a Christian, meaning a follower of Christ, then they matter.
Yes.
And we're called to make it. We're called into commitment, right?
Right.
So this is a really good conversation. It's easy to operate from a place of safety. It's easy to become, lackadaisical. Yeah.
Even
And
jaded to say, if they should
jaded.
come. Yeah. And get
Yes.
mad at them for not coming. It's like they should
Yes.
know better. They should just be here. But
Yeah.
you're not creating a space for them to be there. It's not a welcoming space. They don't feel comfortable there. So
Yeah.
if you want them there, what are you going to do to make them feel? If you had a guest come into your home, you wouldn't just, leave the door open and say, just come in when you get here. You'd meet them at the door. You do extra thing. You'd make sure they have your favorite meal. You do a lot of things, but we don't want to do that. We just want them to just walk in and feel comfortable. Well, you didn't walk in and feel comfortable when you came in 30, 40, 50 years ago. Someone opened the door and welcomed you in.
Yeah.
What's our welcoming them in look like? It won't be the front door of the church. It may be the email, the text message, the online presence. It's something different to this generation than it was to us and our grandparents.
You nailed it. And I'm going to highlight what you just said, because I want our listeners to hear this. What feels welcoming to you may be very different for somebody else. So what I heard you say is, get curious about what would feel welcoming to that other person. It may not be the same thing for you, but if you want them to have the experience of being welcomed, then get curious about what that looks like for them.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome message. Excuse me, Keith, I really appreciate the energy you're bringing to this in our world. It is so needed. Thank you for what you're doing. And if people want to, first of all, if they want to get your book, Guided by Grace, if they want to connect with you, if they like what they're hearing from you, and they're like, this guy's got some great ideas, I want to brainstorm with him, I want to see what's working, tell us how to get in touch with you.
The best way to connect with me personally is my website, becomingbridgebuilders.org. On that, you'll find my podcast, you'll find my blog posts, you'll find conversations. You'll also be able to reach out to me and make direct contact with me. If you want to, you can follow me on Facebook under Rev B. Keith Haney. I'm also on Instagram, Rev B. Keith Haney. Rev Headpen. I like bowling, so everything's Rev Headpen typically.
Right on.
But yeah, I love my podcast is really about having deep conversations. I want to go deeper with people and I want to listen. So my podcast is kind of what Fox News was supposed to be, fair and balanced. So I have people on my podcast I don't necessarily agree with, but I want to have the conversation. I want to, like you just said, I'm curious. I want to learn from you. I want to know why we don't agree. I want to know why you believe what you believe. I want to hear, and I want the audience to hear the things that you're wrestling with, the things that you're discovered, the things that we may have common ground with. So I really want to have those deep conversations. A lot of those are the podcasts about just having those deep conversations.
Yeah, I really am feeling enthusiastic about that, because I believe that we usually lead with what we don't have in common, and what we actually do have in common. There's so much, but we have to have those conversations to find, like you said, that middle ground. Like, where do we have that overlap? Oh, it's there. Great. Now let's start going outward and really begin to understand each other's, but let's have that safety first. Like, oh yeah, we do have some common ground here. Okay, great. Well, I invite our listeners to get in touch with you, listen to the podcast, get curious. And Keith, again, thank you for being on the show. Love what you're doing.
Thanks for having me.
Keep up the good work. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. And now it's time for you all to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.